Speaking of the rainbow flag, speaking of very smart people, Senator Ted Cruz had a beautiful exchange with the head of the Human Rights Campaign. The Human Rights Campaign, perhaps the most preposterously named organization in world history. It's this radical pro-rainbow sex stuff group. And the head of it, Kelly Robinson, was testifying before the Senate. The Senate was asked a very simple question.
What is your favorite color?
From Ted Cruz. We all know the question that Matt and Marsha Blackburn popularized, which is, what is a woman? Matt popularized it in the culture, and then Marsha popularized it in the U.S. Senate. That's not the question that Senator Cruz asked. He asked the next level question.
Ms. Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines that there's a difference between women and men?
If the question is about trans women...
I'm just asking, is there a difference between women and men?
What I can say here is that the NCAA has rules in place. They've had rules in place for the last decade, and when this competition happened,
I'm going to try again.
The rules were clear.
Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes-no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that we're talking about this case with the NCAA.
No, I'm asking a question. Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? Most people could answer this very simply. I'm curious if you're willing to do so.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just putting it into the context of the conversation that we're having. I think that there are definitions related to sex.
Is that a yes? So I'm trying to get a yes or no. I'm not trying to get a speech. Is there a difference between women and men?
I think that there are definitions for biological sex.
Okay, so you're not answering that. Let me ask you.
This is so great. And Ted is just so good at this. He's so good at grilling people in the Senate because he's extremely intelligent and because he realizes here, after the what is a woman phenomenon, where you get these sputtering pro-trans people to not be able to answer a very simple question, then you ask, where do you go from there? Is there anywhere to go? No, we've reached the heights of absurdity. That's it. That's all we can say. But that's not true, because there is an even simpler question that you can get them to answer or try to answer, which is there a difference between men and women?
No.
What is a woman is a fairly complicated question. I don't want to sound like some lib hippie, well, what do we even mean by gender, man? But it is a little bit complicated. We all know what a woman is, but to define a woman is a little tricky. When the materialist types want to define a woman, say, woman is 2 X chromosomes and a uterus. I think a woman's more than that, right? I frankly think that a woman is more closely defined as sugar and spice and everything nice than as just a couple chromosomes. I don't know what a chromosome is. No, what is a woman? Okay. It's a little bit more complicated. But the question, are men and women different? That is the simplest version of it possible. And they can't even answer that one. The other reason that this is a really brilliant question is it involves more than just the transgender phenomenon. It involves the whole sexual revolution. This is the sort of thing I've been talking about. Actually, I gave it in my CPAC speech, though this part of my speech was not covered. And I've talked about it since then from time to time, which is that if you think that the rainbow activism right now is really crazy, then you've got to go a little further back than just the trans movement. Right now, conservatives had been fighting this battle on just at what age it's okay to trans somebody. Do you do it when they're 7 years old? Do you wait till they're 8 years old? Then now some people finally are talking about, okay, do we just reject transgenderism entirely? But it goes further than that. The way we got transgenderism was by redefining marriage, because we said men and women are basically the same. And the way we redefined marriage is from the sexual revolution, where we said men and women are basically the same. And the place we got the sexual revolution was from feminism, which said men and women are basically the same. So it goes much, much deeper. Senator Cruz goes on.
Let me ask you this question then. Why do women's sports exist? If you can't define a difference between women and men, why not abolish women's sports and just tell little girls to swim with little boys and see who wins?
Oh, I'm simply saying that that sex is different than gender.
Why
and I do believe that women's sports have a great value. I mean, Senator, I'll tell you right now.
Ms. Robinson, please answer the question I'm asking you.
Absolutely.
Why do women's sports exist?
I think that there are so many positive benefits to sports.
But why have a separate category for women? If there's no difference between women and men, why to have women's sports?
I'm saying that there's a difference between sex and gender, and that the NCAA has rules in place, which they have for the last decade.
Mr. Chairman, I would like...
And she won't answer it. She can't answer it. And Cruz is so smart here, because Cruz could have a philosophical discourse on what makes a human being. Senator Cruz could go into Aristotle and St. Thomas Aquinas and all matter of anthropology. And he's not doing that, because that would fly over virtually everybody's head. He's asking an historical question here. why do we have women's sports at all? And that historical question is not really quite as contentious and up for debate as the philosophical or anthropological question or theological questions related to it. Just a basic one. Hey, why did we pass Title IX? Hey, why did we create women's sports leagues? The answer is because men and women are different and because men are physically stronger than women. That's why. It's that simple. And even if you think that that is not true and that wasn't a good basis to start women's sports, or maybe you don't think women's sports should be started at all, you can't deny that was the reason that the sports leagues were started. And the very fact that was the reason is damning because it shows you that everyone for all of human history understood that men and women are different until today. He asks, is there a benefit to women's sports? Is that a good thing that we have women's sports? And she says, oh, sports are a good thing. I didn't ask you if sports are a good thing. I'm asking a very simple question. They can't answer it because they know that when you do answer it, you've got the authority of pretty much every human being ever versus their cockamamie fantasies.